Alright, and welcome back to the podcast with many names. Sponsored by Mountain Dew Zero. You're welcome. Today's episode, we're going to talk about bacon and pie. Don't you worry.
And we're live.
With the sound of footsteps.
Oh yeah. What's up, guys?
Ma'am, you know what grinds my gears, PJ?
What?
Not getting paid.
Yeah, we all got laid off.
I got laid off.
Yeah.
Except for Dylan.
Yeah, I was gonna say you say that.
He's our supply line on the front lines.
Probably gonna die first too.
He thinks he's gonna die first, but surely they're the healthiest people we have.
Yeah, you think so?
Surely. They're taking care of
Or
themselves.
people that have to do manual labor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll be fine.
How much can you hear through the
A lot.
headset?
Nothing like the thunder of footsteps.
I don't even think they have a nap time, to be honest.
That's crazy.
They've been continuous. I'm pretty sure they were up at 1 a.m. last night. Did you hear it last night? Like when I was starting to go to bed?
Like, how hard is it to
They're like
turn a faucet off?
the slow faucet turn.
It only does it when you creak it.
The hot water and you creak it. This is what we live with, Dylan.
This is what happens when you pay good rent prices.
I mean, that's the only complaint I have, really. Oh, and the walkways get a little flooded sometimes.
And the occasional, gunshot outside.
And we determined it wasn't a gunshot.
Okay, so PJ did some investigating.
I did.
PJ, take it.
So basically, somebody over there really likes to beat on their doors hard with like some kind of like pole or something. Because I heard the exact same sound midday, but it would lasted a lot longer. Like, it was
And you said you saw people and people were just like
Yeah,
nonchalant,
walking around.
like normal.
exact same sound. You know that.
And it was more than a clip. It was more than a clip's amount.
So I'm thinking
That's what I'm
someone's just
saying.
banging on a door with like a pipe or something, and it just I don't know, cause like to me like I wouldn't normally like confuse the sound of a gunshot with anything else, but
It sounded like a gun.
yeah, it sounded like a small caliber, like a little far away like gunshot, right? Like that.
That was it.
That was the noise.
How
there?
convenient that we get the sound.
It just sounds like you're banging on a trash can.
Yeah, but
There was a lot of them. Like it was like ga 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 ga.
So I think it's what it was.
That was it. That was the sound, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I had headphones on.
Isn't that weird? We're like talking about it and the sound just happened.
Well, it's like when
we haven't heard it in weeks.
Well, it's like when we were talking about the Ouija board and like we heard a woman screaming and like
Nothing
in
ever came
terror.
of that. I'm assuming some lady was just probably getting hit or something. I don't know.
Who knows?
Or it was just, I don't know. We all heard it.
It was intense, but yeah. So bam, point for
Spider-Man 3 was
I'm
kind
not
of
gonna lie.
underrated.
How strange is that? We just like called it upon and it happened. Bam. Unless someone actually, that'd be funny to find out tomorrow someone did just get shot with the one shot instead.
That was not a gunshot. That was a trash can or something.
Hey,
of
maybe
the sort.
somebody was banging on a trash can or something. I mean, that could
There was
have
a
been
lot of those, man. I don't know. It was just, that's what it sounded like, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Eh.
coming from people who have never really been around it in life, outside of shooting ranges.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
I've never
sound
heard
like
it
a
in the
gunshot.
city.
I don't know. That night it sounded like a 22 like going off, which is not very loud, you know.
No.
So, anyways, and I figured around here that's all people can really afford or something small like that.
No comment.
So, anyway, so we have 4 topics on the docket today. The first one is, what is the coolest kind of jumping animal, like a frog? Yeah, we can
Which
skip
kind
that
of
one.
jumping animal?
We
What?
can
No,
skip
no,
that one. We
no.
can
You
skip
brought
that
the topic to the table.
No, it's obviously a kangaroo. Kangaroo can
one.
beat
Dude,
you up in a
that's
kung fu.
so basic.
I don't know,
Hey,
man. If
sometimes basic is correct.
You gotta go back and look at the actual insects. Okay, the
Oh,
insects
insects
can jump
are
a
lame.
lot farther. Come
Like,
on,
can
frogs.
an insect do kung fu?
Imagine if a kangaroo could
Have you
jump
seen a kangaroo?
as high.
They can literally box you to death with their feet.
So can a praying mantis.
Praying mantis are lame.
Dude, imagine if those were huge. They'll tear us into pieces.
Shotgun.
The correct answer is
Shotgun?
lion.
What?
A lion.
What?
Lions can jump.
What?
Not the same kind
No,
of jump.
no.
That's not
I
the
didn't
same.
say
It's a pounce.
animal that
That's a
was
pounce,
known for
bro.
jumping.
Not the same thing.
Dude, they can jump.
No, a lemur. If you're gonna go with one of them, it'd be a
Or
lemur.
what they hunt,
It's
the
a boomer food.
gazelles. The gazelles could jump. That's what they hunt, right? Gazelles.
Yeah.
The
People.
ones that can like jump high. I guess we could say people could jump the highest with technology.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Just
What about with moon boots?
I don't even know what those are.
You never had moon boots as a kid? What about you?
Those did not work.
They never worked. Makes you think you're going to jump a lot higher. I would use the big old black rubber bands to make my bow and arrows when I was younger.
Your bow and arrows?
Wow.
You didn't make bow and arrows when you were a kid?
No, we had slingshots though.
This padding is gonna help so much in here when we get it in.
Oh, the padding? Yeah, we need to get that still.
Yeah, you're gonna definitely tell the difference between episode 1 and episode 13. You know?
You made slingshots as a kid? You didn't make bow and arrows?
I didn't have the resources.
A stick and a rubber band?
Look,
I didn't have trees.
no, we grew up in the Ice Age, so you know.
Oh, that makes sense. Unfortunate.
No, I was too busy playing sports outside or fighting.
Oh, sports.
The sports.
I was fighting too. I was fighting orcs.
I was busy surviving.
From orcs?
All the above.
No, for us it was definitely ninjas.
You were a ninja fighter?
Yeah, we had to fight armies of ninjas.
Did you have someone playing with you? That's what it sounds like. You keep saying us.
Oh yeah,
I never
it's
had
called this thing called friends. Some of us have them.
No, I'd get my sister to come play with me, and then I'd hit her in the hand with one of my sticks.
Yeah.
Like we'd sword fight. I'd hit her, and she would immediately be like, "I'm done."
Clearly a
And
monster.
would go inside.
I had my brother, so we played quite a bit.
No, she'd play with me for just a minute, and then I'd hurt her somehow. Yeah, because she just stumbled into things.
Usually it would end with one kid running in the garage and like trying to change the rules. And then, like, you know...
Force field!
Yeah,
this place has a
you'd all
force
end up
field!
ganging up on that kid because that kid was a piece of shit.
There was this one time my brother, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
My brother had a bunch of friends over, and which I mean, I was kind of friends with them too. We were close enough in age and all that. But anyways, we decided to have this really big sword fight, you know, with everybody, with, you know, the sticks and the trees and stuff like that. And I remember this one kid, like, I was like beating him down with my stick, my sword. And I took his sword away, and I was like, you know, we used to have a dog, right? And this dog would love to play. He was a little rough. But anyways, so I grabbed his sword and I threw it over to the dog's area. He was like on a leash and stuff. Different times. You could do that back then.
Did he chew up the sword?
No.
Was that one of those Nerf swords?
No, it was a stick. You know, like, it's childhood swords, dude. It's just like a stick. But anyways, I threw it to him, and he thought I was playing fetch, right? So when my brother's friend went to go get the sword, he defended that stick pretty hard. He bit him on the hand, and then I got in trouble. So it was a good dog.
That's pretty harsh.
I mean, we had a pet rock, but, you know, we had to put that pet rock down because it bit one of my friends.
Oh,
So.
yeah. We didn't put this dog down. I just got in trouble.
Sounds like a California thing, Dylan.
Rock was named Pebbles.
When he grew up out there in California.
Oh yeah, when I've only been there for like
hair.
1 month.
I mean,
when
if
I was a
I'm
baby.
being
With
honest,
sandals, blonde hair.
Oh yeah.
it wasn't even really a bite. He just did a dog thing, like, you know, like.
Yeah, what
like a
my
play
dog
dog.
does.
Yeah. But you know.
When you're a kid, it's scary.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's going
I
on.
was just like.
No. What's scary is the kid that runs into the garage when you're having a water gun fight, and he says, "You guys can't shoot me in here," and you all do because, you know, screw that kid. And then the dad comes out and is actually mad that you guys squirted a bunch of water in the garage.
Do you guys ever have like big sleepovers with all your friends? And stuff
I
like that?
tried one time on a birthday where we all watched Matrix, the first one.
See, when I did it, we.
I had a pool.
It
It
was
a pool
always
party.
a disaster for us.
It was a pool party, and we played WWE wrestling on the N64.
It would have been WWF, sir.
Whatever it is.
No, it's important.
We played it.
It's an important thing.
You don't want The Rock on it.
Yeah. No Mercy.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was the N64 one.
Either that or WrestleMania 2000.
So, we would go to, like, when I got a little older and I had friends who were into it, we would go to the lake, you know, for our birthday and, like, spend the night out there and do lake things. But one time, before we started doing that, we had to camp out in our backyard, right? And I had so many, it was so stupid. There was probably like 10 of us there. And of course, we did a bunch of stupid stuff because we were a bunch of boys. And I remember at one point in the night, there was a Masonic lodge like across the street from us, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is so bad, but I convinced my friend to go take a dump in front of their door, and
We
he did
will
it.
all
How
be
does that
dead.
conversation start? Give us the convincing.
Dude,
Well, I'm just going to say this right
guy-
now. We did not kill ourselves.
Well, we were just daring each other to do things. And that was my dare, and he went and did it. Like, just walked across the street and took a dump over there.
And he had to go? Like, how do you just bring it up?
And I don't know. I
You
didn't
know what?
ask.
I will go do that.
I
Hey,
mean,
some people have superpowers, man. We can't all make fun of what it is.
People can just go, I guess. I don't know. I mean, but he did it though. And the next morning, I guess the janitor or whatever had showed up to clean the place, and he saw it, and we were all sleeping in the tent outside. and he walked over. And he was all like,
let's camp out near the crime
he
scene.
was like, looks like somebody took a dump on the front porch. He's asking for a shovel, right? And I remember being like, oh crap, and also being sleepy. And so like I know for some reason we had a shovel outside, so I was like, yeah, there's one over there. And he went and got it and like shoveled up the poop, and like it was the end of that. It's such a weird story. And I don't know, that guy was just an interesting dude.
Why'd y'all camp near the poop?
I don't know. It was just you think of weird things in the middle of the night.
This should be far enough away from our crime scene.
the crime
Let's
scene.
go ahead and camp it. And he just walks up, immediately looks over, and there's the camp scene.
I mean, most criminals return to the crime site.
Right. Yeah, it's some stupid stuff. Like
And
not,
only
not
some
like,
camp on it.
not like
Only the best.
no, I just some stupid
Hide
stuff
in plain
going on.
sight, they always say. Hide in plain sight.
I remember this one time. Did you ever meet Brandon Redhead? Kind of.
Probably.
Anyways, I remember him and this guy named Michael Kirby, right? We were all gonna sneak out with my friend Eric and go like toilet paper house and stuff.
Probably
like that. It
shouldn't
was-
use actual names.
Man, that was a
it was-
flex.
Anyways,
Throwing toilet paper.
yeah, beer, right? Well, it was Halloween. You know, we were gonna go out and have fun. Because what else can you do in a little town? And so what had happened is my friend Eric, he came to spend the night with me at our place, right? And then so Brandon and Michael were gonna come and get us. You know, we were gonna leave. Well, we accidentally fell asleep, right? And so Brandon, as smart as he, remember this is the guy who we went to go try to go to a radar movie, and he told the dude his real birthday, and like so we couldn't get in. So this guy thought it was smart to go start banging on the door to see if I would wake up, and of course, who woke up? My parents woke up, and they thought somebody was trying to break in the house. Right? And then, so it was just hilarious. Like, and he called the cops and went out there with the BB gun, and like they were hiding in the same Masonic lodge, like behind this thing. They were hiding behind it, and they thought my dad had a real gun. He was like, "I'm about to start shooting," and then Michael's like, "Oh, it's just us, and they didn't know it was a little BB gun. But yeah. And then he asked me that same night. He was like, "Were you gonna leave the house?" And of course, I was sleepy. I'm a really good sleepy liar. I've noticed that about me. So if I like don't want to wake up, like my brain's already thinking of a million lies to say. But anyways, it's just another weird story. It's small town life. I mean, one time I
Did
Did you ever go toilet paper?
Have I been toilet paper?
Yeah. No, have you ever gone to toilet paper houses?
No comment.
So
Yeah.
that's a yes.
I think I did it once, and I chunked it, right? And it was like maybe a little wet, like at the type of night it was still kind of rainy.
Yeah.
I chunked it, and the thing did not. There was no tail. There was no like. It was just simply like, and the whole thing just hit the tree and fell down to the ground. And all my friends looked at me, and they're like, "Run!"
Do you remember this one time? The same Brandon guy. He was always the person like there getting me in trouble. It was him and my friend Roman, and we were going around throwing you know, the fireworks that go up in the air. What are they called? The bottle.
Roman candle.
No, they're like the actual exploding ones. Like
Yeah, Roman candle.
Flare.
Not a bottle of firecracker?
No, the
you know,
one.
like the ones that go way up in the air.
No, bottle rocket.
Bottle rockets.
I guess so, but we didn't use the tube, and we would just light them and throw them out the car window, right? And so at one point we did that, and it caught the field on fire. And so we were sitting there trying to put it out, and I just remember like, I mean, it wasn't a big fire; it was just starting up. So we're sitting there trying to stop it, and this truck drives by, and I like just stop, and I'm acting all nonchalant, like there's not a fire right behind me. I just remember like, and then I lost my wallet there, so we had to go back to the scene of the crime later on and get that. We did a lot of stupid stuff like that. I mean, you could get away with more in a small town.
Oh yeah, trust me, we know.
I think one time
I
I made
egged a principal's house once, if that counts.
that kind of counts.
That I'll admit to. I won't say
What principal was it?
Funk.
Wow.
I don't remember their names.
He was like a big penis with ears. His name was Doug Funk, and
I
he
feel
went
like
and
that's
got
a lot of descriptions.
He went into get his doctorates and became Dr. Funk, and got
Dr.
mad when we
Funk.
would make fun of him for having
Dude,
such
that's
a hilarious
cool
name.
name.
Who's got the funk?
Yeah, no, he threw
That
me an
Dr.
ISS
Funk.
because I put a "Welcome to Funky Town" sign on his door.
Dude, how do you not embrace that? Especially being in the education
People have weird
business.
pet peeves to
Yeah.
things where it's like you just should let that go. Like,
That's
there's battlegrounds like like cheese bread with bacon and
It was
stuff
a
on it.
personal rivalry, I think. You know.
I mean, especially if you know you're going to be a teacher of some sort, you know, or in the education business. Do you have a name like Funk? Like, embrace it.
And you get a doctorate
right?
where you're Dr. Funk.
Dude, I would kill to have a name like that. And he just walked into it and he hates
Very
it.
grumpy
Come
man.
on.
It's probably been.
He actually looked like Gru from Despicable Me. Now that I think about it.
No, that's a good description.
Oh, so now you know who it is?
No.
No, it was.
I'm sure they had.
He came in around 2008.
Yeah.
So that was your senior year.
Yeah, he graduated.
Sophomore year?
Junior.
He was a youngin.
No, yeah, sophomore.
One of those.
Something.
I took him to prom.
You took him
No,
to
no,
prom?
no, no,
No, I
no,
didn't.
no. We're not starting that.
No. What?
No, I took someone to prom,
And it ended up being Dylan?
and Dylan was there at the table at the prom.
We went separately with different people.
He wanted to
the
go
same
with
year.
us.
What? No, that's not. No.
So you're telling me you took a girl to the prom and it ended up being Dylan?
No.
He took off the wig and he was like, surprise!
Surprise!
I am convincing. That's true.
No, he took one of his friend girls.
Friends?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a sloop.
They all went into a limo, right?
I don't really remember much of that night.
It was like a super limo. They
Something
went in one of
that.
those like party limos, and they asked
Yeah,
us
you
if
were
we wanted to
cool
go, and I'm
kid,
like,
huh?
no, I'm good. I ended up driving.
I didn't pay for anything.
Me and a certain.
Oh, so you were an escort
I mean,
for this girl.
essentially.
I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
That was your
We've all-
senior year, wasn't
We've
it?
all been
Yeah.
there.
Had pink and black tux, looked like a penguin.
Yeah, I remember that. We were just friends at that point, just starting off, right?
As opposed to
We've only known
being
each other
married
for
now.
how many months? What was that? 2 months?
Wait,
No. We had been friends since
so
my
you
junior
were already
year.
in college when this happened?
Yeah. Huh?
You were already in college when this happened?
Yeah. That was That was when I took Jessa to
Yeah. So
prom. So that was 3 years after I graduated.
Yeah.
3 years after my graduation.
Yeah. Okay, I think I remember that. I think I remember you telling me.
When I was back in Willow Park.
When you abandoned me.
When I abandoned you.
You abandoned
When
me, sir.
I abandoned you.
This is going to be like a really personal episode that we probably don't upload because of all these names that have been used.
That'll be fine.
They don't care.
I ain't getting
How many Michael Kirby's are in the world? A bunch.
You
probably.
telling
Probably
me?
only one.
You telling me a certain
you said
guru
his middle
principal
name.
is gonna listen
Look,
to
dude,
this
I-
podcast
look.
out of the 7 people
If
that are
Dr.
gonna hear
Funk
this?
gets mad at us, I will be
Look,
so
man,
happy.
he put me in ISS for 3 weeks for that Funky Town song.
You're still afraid of him.
That's so messed up.
You've been graduated for 10
I'm not
years.
afraid. No, seriously
and
though,
you're still
like,
afraid of
I
him.
would've- I
it's
would've
one of
laughed
those
my
hilarious,
butt off.
like literally, like I would get sent to the principal's office every day at third period, no matter what I did, just to go hang out with Funk. We became very close friends.
So you're saying he likes you?
No, I'm saying he hates me, but I like the idea that
You
we
were his Dennis the Menace,
exactly.
and he was the old man next door.
Wilson.
That's not his name.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
literally
Mr. Wilson.
I'm pretty sure it's Carlson.
That's a Tonight Show guy.
No, that's
Carson.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
I,
I'm just saying, like, I remember that whole time you abandoned me and like went back to
That whole time, that you were with Shane the whole time.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. And then you abandoned me with Shane
That was a year later. though.
and with Kyle.
I didn't abandon you with Kyle. I was there the whole time,
Oh.
through thick and thin.
Okay, you abandoned me with Shane
Yeah, for what, like 2 months?
during when Netflix and chill became a thing.
Yeah, circa 2012, 11, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. It's true. He was one of the
I would have movie nights, and all my friends would be over. I think you came to one of them. We're all sitting there watching a movie, and
That's the
Netflix,
play.
Netflix and chill would happen.
Not all together. He's talking about Shane in the next room.
You were there, Dylan. Don't give me that face. You showed up to at least one.
no memory of said time.
Probably because we. No, I'm not saying
What?
that. What?
All right, back to the itinerary.
Yeah, we got a little sidetracked. All right, so I'm gonna erase the frog question.
All right. I'm
Because the
glad we
answer is
answered.
obviously
I'm
Kangaroo.
glad we answered that one properly.
They made a movie called Kangaroo Jack, where
Okay.
he talks in the commercial, and he doesn't talk in the fucking movie.
I didn't like that movie at all.
No, it was terrible. Trailer made
Are
it
you
look awesome.
kidding me? Kangaroo Jack is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I think you're a liar.
It has that one black guy that I really
Oh
love.
wow!
Oh,
really?
I'm sorry, he's black.
Wow.
And I love him. Like he's what's his name? He was in Romeo
He
Must
loves
Die
him.
too.
He loves him. Doesn't know his name.
Hey,
Okay, you're talking to the person who never remembers any.
they're
of
asking
his
if they
names.
can bring their dog.
Hell no.
Yeah, I'd say.
It's the little tiny one.
I know, but I
Because I was
don't-
about to say no, but then I was like, wait, it's something you can put in a pocket.
As long as we don't get in trouble for it.
Do you think we'd get in trouble for just like a few hours?
I don't know.
Why would you? Whatever. Anyways,
Elizabeth, if you're hearing this,
Anthony.
we didn't bring the dog, but we really did.
Oh, what is his name?
Oh, Anthony Anders.
Yeah, Anderson or something
Anderson.
like that.
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, he was one of the best parts of Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Yeah, he's also funny in that. That's up to you, dude.
Do you see a problem with that? I don't.
Yeah, do whatever.
We're not keeping the dog. Like, it's not staying
yeah,
here.
He's just here for a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, I know it's a stupid movie and it's ridiculous and dumb,
But if we're going to talk about stupid movies that we like, The Crocodile Hunter, the movie, is a masterpiece.
You know,
Is that a dumb movie though?
It is. It's one of those movies that I admit I know it's not good, but because I'm such a big Steve Irwin fan, I
just like knives. How you say it?
Knives.
Knives.
You call them knife?
Call them a knife?
He's a knife.
You know, Kangaroo Jack might have been what started my whole ironic watching things.
Yeah.
Think
Not
about
me.
it.
No.
Dude, I love ironic watching.
That was like a one watch and.
Let's just talk about that.
Speaking of which, though,
what's your favorite ironic movie to watch?
It would be.
What's your favorite movie to watch ironically?
It would definitely be Who Shot Captain Alex.
Okay, yeah, but I haven't actually seen the whole thing. I need to watch it.
You've
I don't
seen
know
the
Who
best
Shot
part.
Captain Alex.
It is a movie that was made in Africa for $200, and it is probably The Godfather Part 1 of bad movies. So it's a masterpiece.
I don't think I've ever saw that one. I don't know if I've ever sat there and watched a movie to be ironic and enjoy it because it's ironic. I try to watch movies that are good.
I mean, we did see that Nicolas Cage movie about witches. That was
That one,
hilarious.
but it was funny, but it's not. I'm not going to call it a favorite because I didn't find it. I didn't get anything out of that.
Eh.
You know what I mean?
I enjoyed the scene where it showed the monks being all spooky, and they just basically are crawling on the ceiling.
Yeah, but have you returned to that movie to watch it?
I've seen it one last time,
I
but it's not
haven't.
my favorite. You know, it's not one of those movies I'll watch over and over again. Whereas if we're gonna pick a Nicolas Cage movie, it's clearly The Wicker Man, where he yells about the bees and he wears a bear suit and he punches a girl and
I
steals
think I
his
saw
bike.
it maybe once too. I don't know.
Oh man, it's amazing. How to Get Burned? How to Get Burned?
I'm trying to think of an ironic movie that I would have seen.
I've unintentionally seen Star Wars Episode 2 more than any other Star Wars film.
Really?
It's the one that's always on TV.
Oh, I was like, who keeps playing that?
No, it's always the one that's on TV, and it makes no sense.
The
'cause
worst,
it's the worst
one. The worst one. The way that they do Anakin in that one. Maybe he didn't know how to dance fight in that one.
No, it's the fact that it's like 45 minutes of their romance where they're wooden acting, where she's just like,
I think the battle scenes bug me the most because it's called Clone Wars, and we get like
no, it's
nothing.
Attack of the Clones, and there's like no action until like the last 15
I'm so sorry,
minutes.
but the 1, 2, and 3 are probably the best Star Wars movies out there.
3 is. One's fun because of pod racing and Darth Maul.
Yeah, Liam Neeson.
No, there's only 2 good Star Wars films, and they came out in the 70s and 80s. A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. From a story
Empire Strikes Back's the best.
It's the only ones with an actual plot that you can follow. That's
Dude,
not horrible acting.
Episode 2 is probably the most genius Star Wars movie.
Now you're just trolling us
No,
again.
I'm not. I'm being serious.
There's nothing
Like,
genius about
Are
it,
you
PJ.
serious? You need to go back and rewatch that movie.
Defend your opinion.
Defend your opinion. Go.
And that's what I thought.
Oh, sorry. Just
Yeah. Answering the phone. Answering the phone and not doing.
Defending my opinion. Okay, here's my opinion defended. The dialogue alone.
Are you
Amazing.
shit? Oh yeah, you're just straight trolling.
No, I'm
Are you
not.
kidding me? Prequels dialogue.
So-
in
Do you have the
Star Wars
lyrics
is
painted on your
cringe.
walls, PJ?
It's so funny. Like I love it. Like,
Oh, so
So you like it for the
ironically-
ironicness.
yeah, but also it's just awesome.
No, Lord of the Rings. Is
Dude,
awesome.
he literally jumps off of one of the things and lands on another thing, and
Never seen that before in a
That
movie.
assassin person's all like, it was Darth. No, it was.
You
what
want
was
some
that?
death sticks? Hey, remember when stick figures came out? The Star Wars stick figure? Remember
No.
that? It was like those animation movies went before like YouTube, where everyone was watching them, and there was it was the stick figure animation. They would do Star
Oh,
Wars,
like
and they would
the
do
Flash clips.
yeah, and it was like, do you want some death sticks and stuff like that? And it was episode 2, like clips from episode 2.
Oh, Greg.
Do you remember those?
Vaguely.
Like the stick figure
I
animation.
remember Flash. Player.
Yeah. Man, how hard was it to install Flash on your computer at school? They were like so against that after like the first few years.
I
It's
just
like
remember
fight-
Icy
it's fighting
Tower
a-
being
It's fighting a
played.
battle. We used to play RuneScape until they like blocked us.
RuneScape.
No, I'm getting blown up. I'm gonna just ignore that.
Now I'm gonna have the fishing song stuck in my head.
The RuneScape one?
Uh-huh.
Sing it for me.
I don't know how to sing it. It's not
It
words.
says stuck in your head.
Wasn't it the funniest thing ever? Like going through high school and like knowing more than the computer teacher knew. Like It was just always so funny to me because they'd be like, "Oh, you gotta do this and that." And it was like real basic stuff because computers are basic.
Do you remember making a video game?
I would never get to do
You
that.
never got to do that?
No.
No, we barely learned how to type. For me, that experience was with the history teachers, though. They never knew what they were talking about.
There was a few good history teachers at Alito.
There was only one.
The coaches,
that I can
for the
remember.
most part, sucked.
I can only remember one history, like proper history, like not government and stuff. That was
You had
good.
to take the pre-AP and the AP.
Yeah, you had to take AAP stuff, and even then, you know,
Yeah. I mean, Tarleton had amazing history teachers.
Weatherford College did not.
I was literally taking history classes that I wasn't supposed to be taking because I wanted to hear it from them.
Yeah.
That's why I took
Yeah.
Mr. McKinney's extracurricular classes in high school because he taught it like a college professor.
Remember taking film and lit together?
Yeah.
That was a blast.
Okay, we took film and lit together when that was our actual landlord.
Yeah.
He was our actual landlord, and he was our film and lit teacher, and it was primarily film.
And I was all like, "If you fail me, I'm not
We
paying
wrote
rent."
3 papers.
I think 2, no more than 2.
We wrote 2 papers. One was like the midterm, the other one was the final, and then
Yeah.
every now and then
The rest of it was we had to be actively in the discussion.
engaged in the discussion. So as what we're doing right now, talking about film, is what we did in the class, and
It
we
was
got A's
awesome.
for it. And then we would pay him rent, and then he gave us discounts for painting.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And
That was our party house,
films.
too. We
Like,
partied at that
You would have
house.
really enjoyed like that class, I think.
Yeah,
'Cause,
probably.
like, and the funniest part about it is like I think me and Waylon and maybe one other person were the only people that actually had anything meaningful to say because like we actually watched the films. Everybody else would just like randomly chime in with some bullshit off the topic remark like to something we were saying.
All 3 of us and the teacher would go,
Yeah, we'd be like, and then we just keep
and we'd
going.
go back to talking.
So that class literally turned into me, Dotson, and Waylon having a three-way conversation about.
Oh,
the
he loved
movies.
it too.
And then like everybody else would be like, kind of looking back. And
He was
forth.
one of those really cool like professors, like probably one of the only actual feeling of professor
Yeah.
at that college, an English
That's cool.
professor. Yeah,
It was really cool.
Like-
Still there?
the one
oh,
probably. I feel like he would still be there, but he had like he would do like the patches on his.
Oh, he had the tweed
He did
jacket
it all.
and everything.
He did it all. He was
Wild,
very
crazy hair.
He was
beard,
very fashionable, dressed in earth tones.
chalk all over him.
He did scruff. He would have scruff on his
yeah,
face,
a little bit, yeah.
glasses,
Yeah.
but it was definitely more of a hippie.
It's just funny because like
Mm.
like this happens in music classes too, and I say music because that's like something we just relate to, but like that was one of the only classes I really understood how many people were just like there to get by, like just let's just not fail. Like it's just kind of a weird place to be. I don't know. I feel like
Remember when we took astronomy and the whole football team was in there with us?
yeah, dude, those guys.
They
this
hated
is a
us.
stereotype, and I'm so sorry, but they were not bright guys. Like.
Not at
And it's
all.
just one of those things where you're just like really answer all these questions. I remember this one time because remember this guy that I went to Clifton with
Yeah.
was in our class too, which is cool because I hadn't seen him in forever. But we had this project to do, right? And at this time, I was really getting into space, right? Because I love space stuff now, but like at the time, I was really getting into it. So I was starting looking up a lot of this stuff. And so we decided to do our presentation over dark matter, right? And because people just like, they had this stupid concept of what dark
It
matter
was
is.
over their head.
They think it's like, oh, it's like you got matter and you got dark matter. What's the
It's
regular
like the
matter?
bad side
This
of the
is like-
force.
Yeah, and then like that's so stupid. And so it was like, so it's all we
Yeah,
did
but
about.
I mean,
So-
you gotta remember, like most of the science programs in this country for growing up in school, don't really teach you anything. Like it's very rare that you, especially with funding, it's very rare that you actually do any science in the science class. You typically just read a textbook, which you're not really
Vocabulary
paying
based.
attention. Yeah.
Learn this vocabulary.
I
and
get
move
it.
on.
that
Which
makes
you only
sense.
remember long enough to pass the damn test.
But astronomy, though.
But this was so
We
funny.
never covered astronomy growing up in school.
Well, we signed up for it. It's college.
Well, yeah, I mean, but like until you get college, you really
Yeah.
typically don't do a lot of science, which is
That's
why a lot
fair.
of people struggle with it.
Mhm.
This was particularly funny though because we got a group grade, and I know for a fact the guy that I went to Clifton with, he's a pretty smart guy, or was. I didn't know him in college, but when we were picking groups, whatever, like I just let him be in our group or asked him because like I didn't want to be with some random person, so I was like, hey, I know you, be in our group, and then we forgot to get a hold of him while we did the presentation. And so he just showed up to class. He was like, "Man, you never got a hold of me." I was like, "All right, dude, it's fine. We'll be cool. You just read." I was told him to do the classic stupid thing. I was like, "Just read the thing and you pick a slide, talk about it." He got so mad at me because to him, he looked stupid because we were up there just like talking away about all this stuff, and he was like, "Dark matter is," just like reading
The
it off.
classic look over your shoulder.
And, like, it's funny because his dad's a science teacher. He taught us physics and stuff like that, which is where I first started getting into it. Because his dad's actually a really good science teacher. Like, I mean, he went out of his way to teach all this stuff. That at the time we didn't know was actually wrong. You know, like because like a lot of this stuff's been really getting disproven over the last couple of years. So I'm not gonna get into
that's
that
the thing
'cause
is
we'll
science
talk
is
about
always changing. I mean,
That's what makes it even weirder.
Yeah.
You can't be like
Well,
stuck
that's
on
why
it.
I respect it though. Is like
No.
at least when they know they're wrong. Well, in some subjects, because archaeology is notorious for
Yes.
holding on to their
But
stuff.
I will
Yep.
also say that most mainstream sciences, as far as physics and astronomy goes, are the same way. Like
Mhm.
you cannot go against the norm or say
No,
somebody's wrong.
no, they try
God
to shut you down.
forbid, God forbid, somebody challenged Einstein or Newton. You know, like
No, yeah, it's
you
like
know,
sacrilege, and it's
yeah.
very dogmatic.
Which is ironic.
Mhm.
You know, considering.
Oh, especially Einstein.
it's
Or I
just-
mean,
yeah.
Newton.
Yeah, it's considering that whole thing with like how like separating from like the church and stuff like that, how they viewed that. You know, they're the same way with their own community.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the same way. It's the music industry too.
Yep.
You know, like
That's very true.
if you don't, or if you're like, I don't like the '80s rock music that much.
Or you don't like the Beatles.
People like they absolutely lose their mind. You're like, listen, man, there's a lot of good stuff in current. So like, if you, it's one thing if you just don't like something, or if you want us to abide by a certain rule of you have to like these bands of this time. But if you don't, like, they're like, today's music's trash.
Yeah, it's
All of it's trash. It's like you're completely wrong. I continually find new music that
Yeah.
I like.
That's a very poor way of looking at things. You
Well,
know,
it's
like-
annoying. You know,
I mean,
people
it's
like,
the
I
same-
want to hear a guitar solo. I get you, guy, but like,
Well, it's the same thing
This-
with films.
that's
People
not-
are
that's
always
not
complaining
song.
about how, like, Hollywood doesn't make any good movies anymore. I can name at least 15 films that came out last year that were awesome. The
Right.
problem is no one goes and sees the creative films because
Mm-hmm.
they want to see the same thing over and over again.
like Broadway.
Hence, yeah, well, hence why we keep getting these rehashes of movies that we've already seen before because we're running like what Fast and the Furious 11.
Mm-hmm.
They've been crap films the whole time. Now, granted, I'm going to be one of the guys that goes to see them. But
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to go see, and that's part of the
Exactly, yeah.
problem. Like, you're not going to go take a chance on a movie like Annihilation or Blade Runner 2049, both of which were masterpieces.
Yeah, excellent.
But
films.
because they're too much for most people these days, because our attention span is so small, we don't like to take a risk
Well, they're
on
like,
something
it's
that's 2
familiar.
hours
It's
long.
familiarity. They want.
Exactly.
They
That's
want
why
that familiar
nostalgia
feeling.
is taking over right now.
They want to know that they're safe. They don't like stepping out. Just like what's going on right now with the coronavirus. We're all stuck in our houses and stuff. People keep asking me like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? What's the future?" Man, I don't know. I'm going day by day at this point, and I like that. Me and PJ,
That's
we
what
thrive
it is,
on
yeah.
that. But some people freak out because they're like, "I don't know if I'm gonna have a job. I don't know if I'm gonna have this. I don't know what's going on in the world." Relax.
Well, if you have a problem and you know that there's a solution, don't worry because you have a solution. If you have a problem and you know there is no solution, don't worry because there's nothing you can do about it.
It's just, I was at this conversation the other day. Like it's like, I mean, I think to mostly me and Waylon, but more with me. I've been so like spoiled with like this gig life mentality of just like being music. Like, okay, I got a project to do, I have a gig to play, and that's like been how I make my money over however many years, And so it's like there's always a sense of like not knowing where your next like paycheck's gonna come from. But so that's something we're just used to, It's
Yeah.
like I was like, oh well, yeah, you don't have jobs. Are you freaking out? Like no, like we'll figure it out.
Well,
It's
you'll
not a big
always
deal.
find another job. Like that's the thing.
There-
I've lost several jobs. I used to work as a cook in the restaurant industry. You go through a job like a week almost sometimes.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
No.
You
There
just
is
got to learn how
always-
to the self discipline of Yeah,
You got no one to kick off the shore, take your boat, and go. And,
There's
and
always
people don't know
money
what's gonna happen.
There's always money to be made too. It's like
worst case scenario. I'll just go camping for the rest of my life.
All right.
And again, you'd still survive because you're hunting and stuff. You learn how to hunt or die.
Or I'll just hunt people.
Sink or swim.
I just imagined you hunting, but like instead of hunting people, you're hunting the food. Like they'll be walking in with their groceries, and you like
Oh, yeah,
shoot
and
the
they'd be
bag,
getting their picnic
and like
baskets.
the Doritos falls out.
That'd be a great way to do it.
Speaking of living in the wilderness, eating only animals, how amazing is Mountain Dew Zero, and why am I addicted to it?
Man, I was out hunting the other day, and I found Mountain Dew Zero. It was frolicking in the
Hey,
woods.
don't give away our hunting lodge location.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. If I was like in the fishing in the stream, and an ice cold Mountain Dew Zero came floating down the river, dude.
We are currently not sponsored by Mountain Dew Zero, by the way.
Like, can you just imagine that? Like
Being
maybe,
sponsored by Mountain Dew Zero? Yeah, that'd be
That'd
awesome.
be amazing.
But I'm talking
I will
about,
take your money.
Imagine there's an ice cold mountain up there, right? And a pack of Mountain Dew Zero's been sitting in the ice up there, and one falls into the river and floats down. And you get it, and it's ice cold, and you're like refreshed because it's summer where you're at. Up there it's winter, but like it's summer where you're at.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's how weather
That's not
works.
science.
I don't know. I just like it, and I'm not drinking one right now. Mountain Dew Zero. Buy it. Okay, Interstellar. Let's talk about that. We were talking about space a minute ago, and
That's what you were wanting to talk about.
Yeah.
Interstellar. I was trying to remember it.
Yeah, we're getting back to it. So I kind of wanted to bridge it with the whole space talk, which, again, I love space and it's awesome. By the way, what we were talking about earlier, dark matter isn't actually dark matter. It's just matter we don't know what it is. So it's dark.
It's basically what happens when matter becomes evil.
And you're able to
That's
absorb
what
it
people think.
and
It
use
turns
it
your
against the light.
It turns your eyes yellow, and you can use lightning.
Anyway, so it's that kind of logic that turns me off from space movies sometimes. Like it depends on what a space movie wants to do.
Well,
if it wants to
if
be,
it acts like it's hard science, it pisses me off when it's incorrect. But
Yeah.
if it's something like Star Wars, do it.
yeah, that's different. But
Magic.
here's my problem.
Like doing the e-brake in space.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with Interstellar, okay? And this is one of the things that just really turned me off of it. Aside from the fact that, like, basically the entire plot of what they do is pointless, like, essentially, because just the way space works and stuff like that and how time works. The fact that they tried to be as scientifically accurate as possible and then went totally into random.
Yeah, the third act
zone.
killed the movie for
And I
me.
was just like, come on, like,
Still unknowing of how it actually works, PJ will jump to that conclusion
dude, come
of how
on.
space and time
It is
works.
not.
But you have
a
to
black
admit the
hole-
scene where he's getting all the videos at once because the connection finally worked, and he sees his kids grow up, and they basically gave up on him, and he breaks down.
Oh,
That's one of
man,
the most powerful scenes in
That's
any
so
film I've
sad.
ever seen.
And then became one of the strongest memes of all time.
True.
Okay. Well, either way,
I'm gonna defend McConaughey forever.
It's one of my
Yeah,
favorite movies, PJ.
he's the next item. Let's just stay on this for a second. Okay? I'm sorry it's one of your favorite movies. It's just one of my least favorite movies of all time because I just like it just kills it for me, man. Like
You're such a scientist.
I mean, like no, like if it was like, hey, this is science fiction and we're gonna do random stuff, and and I get the theory of how time dilation works, is still apparent and relevant and like still like not entirely proven, which is fine, because you're gonna go through like certain theories that we are commonly accepted right now. That's cool. But when you do what you did and do that stupid crap like that, I'm sorry, it's just.
You still don't get it though. We've never done that.
Well, it feels more.
We've never done it, PJ. We can't say it was wrong.
For me, it just.
I'm sure it was, but we
Well,
can't
as
say it is.
Storytelling wise, it just felt
100.
like very, Deus Ex Machine, like,
Yeah, it's just-
one of those like cop out endings where it's like, oh, and everything worked out. Fuck you,
Like where there's other dimensional beings and like this is actually just a little.
And they're just trying to help us,
The dimensional beings was humans, wasn't it? It was them ascended.
I mean,
So you don't even care. He never really. He got.
No,
he,
no, I know,
he
I
stopped
know.
watching it about 2 minutes in because he's like, "That's not how it works."
no, I watched the whole thing and I analyzed it and I was
You're
trying to
such a
figure out why
stickler.
I didn't like it. The other
You
thing,
like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who like hates the movie Titanic, not because of the movie, but because the stars were in the wrong place.
Okay, that's
That would be hilarious.
That's-
No, like yeah, he is.
You're
like,
basically being that guy
No,
right now.
that's something so insignificant. This is a major plot point in the movie. Of like, this is like the entire ending of the movie.
Well, if
How-
we're gonna talk about movies that suck because they're not scientifically accurate,
No, that-
Gravity pissed me
Saving
off.
Private Ryan.
again,
Is a masterpiece.
It's not a
Okay.
matter-
But not. It's not. Get a military guy. Have him describe it to you.
The D-Day scene was insane.
like,
But still not the same as how it was.
it's not a matter.
You're not a
of-
military guy. He's not a scientist.
It's not a matter.
I've served in 1,000 psychic wars.
The Psychic Wars of 2014.
It's not a matter of not being scientifically accurate. It's a matter of
Not only
being
that, but I
able to take a
served in the EVE Online Wars of 2013.
PJ, they didn't stamp it on the movie saying this. Everyone come see it.
They
It's scientifically
100%
accurate.
did.
Actually, yeah,
did not.
Yes,
yeah,
they did.
They
No,
did
they
kind of
didn't.
act like
Yes,
it was
they
a sciencey
did.
movie.
I did not see that.
They even went.
The other one, the Mars one, they did.
Hang on.
With
They-
Matt
they
Damon,
even- they
Yeah.
even
who
went.
gets comically typecasted as a guy that gets stranded and has to be rescued all the time.
Waylon, they even went out of their way to get different scientists to do scientific reviews on the movie, including Neil deGrasse Tyson, who can
And
walk
Mikio
for
Kakou or
sandwich.
whatever.
What did he
and-
say about it?
He was like, "Oh, basically that, like saying, oh, this is blah blah blah, it's so accurate." Blah,
But
blah,
the
blah.
stars were in the
If you
wrong
really
place,
want to
so
learn, if you
0
really
out of
want to
10.
learn about space, it's a good movie to start. And not even mention all the things wrong with it. Like that's what bugs me. Because
Well,
that,
how,
that
he
is
can't,
that is
he
what
can't give away the
ignorance-
plot twist.
That is what ignorance is like. To me, is where it's like budding. Like when you get stuff like that they're claiming, hey, this is like how it works. And you got all these people that are like, oh man, Neil deGrasse Tyson said it works this way, so it must. You know what I mean? That guy's such a douche. I'm sorry, he's a douche. Like, and we're gonna move on to
I
the
actually
next
like
topic.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay, and so here is the
I
last.
think he's awesome.
Okay, the one thing
The reason why I like him is more people. I mean, so the three scientists that have inspired more people to actually get into science in our lifetimes than anyone else is Carl Sagan, Bill Nye, who's technically not a scientist, but whatever, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, because they make it seem accessible to the average Joe, because they can explain it in such a way that it makes sense to you and it inspires you to actually start doing research. So regardless of the personality, the fact that it's inspiring more young people to get into science, which is what the problem with our
usually
school
what the
system.
movie could have done, is inspire people.
If as long as you get people that are because science really, it's not as complicated as it seems to be, which is always the problem I've had with science. Like for example, like when they name things with Latin, piss off, man. And just put it in plain words so we can all learn it. It's the barrier to entry that kills most people for science.
Well, it's like music. It's simplicity, and simplicity is what wins. It's the key.
Yeah, well, I mean, the
science
best
is the same way.
cars,
They just try
the
to
best
make it.
cars are the ones that are the most simple and streamlined.
Yeah.
Like Japanese cars and German cars, like they're over engineered. But when you look at the actual engineering, it's pretty much straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other part. Like I was earlier about Interstellar.
That might have been completely wrong. I don't know anything about cars, but I feel
We're
like
not
that's right.
automobile, nor are we scientists, nor are we war experts.
Everybody is a scientist if they follow the correct steps.
If that's the case, I am a master of the scientific art of bullshit.
Okay, I consider that yes.
So the last thing is that
You know Lord of the Rings.
McConaughey's whole contribution to the storyline is irrelevant.
It is because the end of the film makes it irrelevant, but Matthew McConaughey is awesome.
You're on the story with the guy,
therefore-
finding out that you shouldn't have gone that
he is
far.
your point of view.
He literally could have left and immediately died, and everything would have worked out the same
Yeah, but
way.
he's from Texas,
That's not
therefore
the point,
awesome.
PJ. It's a story. They're storytelling.
Oh,
He's the character.
Story?
Well, the thing
Yeah.
is though, is he's the character, so you're going on the journey with him. You're seeing it from his point of view. Otherwise, like if you didn't see it through his point of view, the movie would be 2 minutes.
You've never driven 3 hours and get to a restaurant that you've been dying to go into, and then you get out of the car, you look over at your roommate, and you're like, I forgot my wallet.
I'll give that. It's different.
Same story. You're in that character's position.
I still got to eat though. So.
Yeah, and he still
I
got
got
to get
to
to the
eat.
future.
I got to eat off of
And
that
then
story.
Also, they completely just wrecked
Which-
the brother character too.
The
Like,
really
Which one?
the real
the
question
brother, it's like.
Oh yeah.
And so,
No.
so here's the thing you don't ever like. Here's the part of the movie that doesn't really get explained. Like, the brother was kind of a controlling asshole, right? In the story later on when he grows up, but McConaughey didn't know that. He didn't see any of that. But when he's talking about his life, he literally only gave a shit about his daughter, right? Like his son never crosses his mind.
It's kind of weird.
That's like really like.
Well, like I agree, it's definitely Christopher Nolan's worst movie. But when all your movies are literally perfect 10s, you're gonna have
you're
one.
gonna have a one.
Yeah,
I
and
guess
because like let's go through his list of the
One
films
five.
he's directed. All of them have been amazing. Even his worst of the Batman movies are better than most superhero movies.
That's fair.
Like I would argue that Christopher Nolan's worst movie, which I think we all agree is Interstellar, is still better than most films
Name
that
off
come
more
out.
of them from him real quick.
Okay, so his first movie that I can think of is called Memento, which is about a guy who has that was a classic.
Okay.
He had I think it's called Insomnia. It's with Al Pacino and Robin Williams. It's about a serial killer or
Okay,
a
I've seen
murderer.
that one.
That was a classic. You had the Batman trilogy, all great. You have Inception, which is in my personal 10 favorite films of all time.
Okay.
You have Dunkirk. You have
Interstellar's better than Dunkirk.
Okay.
Okay, continue.
That's all relevant or irrelevant, but you know, I think my personal second favorite, other than Inception, would be The Prestige, the magician
That's a good
rivalry
one.
movie.
Yeah.
That's a masterpiece.
And the other one that came out at the same time as that one. What was it called?
Oh, the Edward Norton one.
Yeah.
The Illusionist.
Yeah, The Illusionist was. I think I have it right there.
But that's not a Christopher Nolan film.
No. But I'm just saying, when they came out at the same time and that one got covered up,
Yeah.
that movie was good. It was really good.
They used to have a lot more, like these weird, like Hollywood released two movies that are very similar at the same time, like Mall Cop and Observe and Report.
I mean, that happened just recently. What was the most recent movie that?
That happens all the time.
Lighthouse and the Lighthouse.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude,
That was a
literally-
You
4
liked
year.
Me,
That's a
Lobster?
4 year difference.
literally
3
the
year.
entirety of the asylums, like.
Yeah, mockbusters are different though. Like we're talking like
That's the why they
we're
exist.
talking like A level like
Yeah.
films that are coming out like White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen.
That was funny.
Like what?
So, like, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm done ragging on this movie.
Oh,
'cause
take
I
this one.
talked
Take
about
this
it
one.
before.
Interstellar or the Brad Pitt movie?
Well, here.
Ad Astra?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'd pick Interstellar.
I think Ad Astra. I mean, yeah, it was good, dude. I liked it. Yeah, there was.
No, it was an enjoyable film. I just thought that it was more. The better part of the film was the concept of the future was realistic, whereas the actual plot was pretty much just your average plot. I thought the acting was good, but it doesn't. It's just another one of those. If it was on TV, I would watch it, but I wouldn't go out of my way to go see it.
I'm convinced that it is a sequel to Space Cowboys.
Yeah, that's. I'm convinced.
I wish there was actually a connection in there.
I'm convinced that Interstellar is a prequel to The Martian, starring Matt Damon, and that Matt Damon actually,
Got stuck twice.
and went insane and forgot.
That could be
Welcome.
cool. I forget he's in that movie. He's in it for such a short amount of time.
Yeah, he's the main villain, but yeah, no big deal.
It's sort of a big deal, you
Yeah,
know.
the main
I never make it
villain
past the
is
beginning of the movie.
He passes to time. Let's get that straight. Like,
I think that's the main villain in everything.
okay, so again, this last harsh thing I'm going to say about this movie, because I've made my feelings very clear. If you're talking about every space movie ever made in the existence of everything, I would put it at the third worst space movie ever.
That's
Did you just say it?
ridiculous.
I would put
overstatement.
Interstellar third worst. The
No,
first worst
I
being
definitely would not.
Space Odyssey is the worst. Second one being Gravity, and then Interstellar.
No, I wouldn't even put Gravity as the worst because as an actual film, 'cause that's the diff. Like if we're talking about scientific inaccuracy, fine. But if we're talking about as far as being a good film or not even close.
I was entertained by Gravity.
Yeah, it's actually an entertaining movie.
It's
If we're
still-
gonna talk about the worst, oh my god.
Well, 2001: Space Odyssey will always have that for me. That's gonna be the worst film. Sorry.
All right, podcast over. I'm walking out.
Dude.
Are you kidding me? Stanley Kubrick is one of the greatest.
Do you know what he did to the composer for that movie?
They're both getting squinty-eyed.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, this
What your
kind
name
of
is.
matters for me.
Well, what I'm saying though is we're talking. You're getting subjective about a film.
This is all subjective. Like,
But that's my
it's
point, though. It's
opinion,
like, exactly. But like, as far as a cinematic like movie, it's considered one of the greatest movies of all time for a reason. Because you got to remember when that came out, there was nothing that had been on that scope yet. There's nothing that has been on that level yet. Like, so not only are the
Okay, so
special.
for
Hold
regular
on.
yeah.
As far as the special effects are concerned, that convinced the entire nation in the world that the moon landing was fake. It was the first sci-fi movie to really be taken seriously that wasn't a bunch of doofuses in rubber suits with like space rays with no space helmets on. As far as scientific accuracy in the 60s, that was mind-blowing. Plus you have the HAL 9000, which has become a pop culture icon. You're hurting me, Dave. You know, I think it's a pretty darn good movie. It might not be like over the passage of time be considered like still the greatest, but if we're going to talk about Stanley Kubrick as a person, yeah, he was fucking insane. Did you see what he did to on The Shining? Like he drove that woman mad. But if we're gonna go in that case, you know, Alfred Hitchcock is also crazy.
He is crazy.
But you know what? There's a fine line between genius and crazy. You know, if we're gonna go through all through history and we're gonna nitpick about people's negative things, like almost every person we've ever celebrated in history is a piece of crap.
I'll give you
You know, even Winston Churchill had his horrible moments, and we consider him one of the greatest human beings ever lived.
Right, yeah.
Everyone's got a skeleton.
To me personally, I don't know. I've never been about that movie. It's like the Beatles for me, I guess.
Name some more space movies.
I mean, there's my
Red Planet,
Red Planet.
terrible movie.
Is that the one with the alien face?
Yeah.
Or the face on the
Uh-huh.
Mars? I haven't seen that one since. I
Don't they
saw
like go in it and then
one
like
time.
Yeah,
like-
and then they find out that Martians are what made people.
yeah.
Like their world went.
You know what was a good one? Sphere. You remember that one?
No,
Is that the one that go underwater and they end up finding like an alien race underwater?
Hmm.
Do you remember that?
no.
That reminds me of
Wasn't that wasn't
Abyss.
that wasn't a different
I'm
planet?
not
That was
talking about
us.
the abyss
No.
because they find water-like creatures
yeah,
under the world.
the water angel.
Okay, it's not that one. That similar though. There's one called Sphere. Was it on Mars?
I have no idea. I've
I
never
can't
seen
remember. I remember
Aliens,
being
a
fun
classic. I think Alien and Aliens is two of the greatest sci-fi films ever made.
Have
I
you
don't
ever
even know
seen
what argument.
Event Horizon?
Yeah, Event Horizon's a cult classic.
Dude, I love that.
It's
movie.
one of those
so
movies
crazy.
that, like, if it would have been a different director, it probably would have been remembered as a great movie. But because it was a W.S. Anderson movie, and he's the guy behind the Resident Evil 3rd franchise.
I didn't know it was that guy. That's
Yeah.
cool.
He's also the guy that directed Alien vs. Predator and Mortal Kombat. So that shouldn't
Well,
narrow
I think
it down.
PJ's favorite space movie is Sunshine.
It probably is.
No, Sunshine's a classic.
I love that movie so much. And then also I like Pandorum. I
It's just a Fight Club ripoff.
I don't think I saw Pandorum.
yeah. Really?
It was okay. It had a cooler concept
I
than
just
it
like
was
that
in
it's clean.
execution.
I just remember it was like whenever he opens up the things, it's like pitch black. And he's talking all that crazy noise about being like, "Oh, we fell asleep too long, and now we're past the stars." I was like, "This is such a random thing."
You know, it's a good movie was Moon. He's basically up on the moon by himself as a worker,
Yeah.
and I can't really give too much of it away. But he's like the only actor in the movie, other than like a robot, which is voiced by the now controversial Kevin Spacey. But it's
I don't know if I've
classic.
seen that either. Man,
This is a good space movie.
Apollo 13.
apparently I
It's
missed a
pretty good
lot
movie.
of
Oh,
things.
yeah.
You already mentioned Space Cowboys. It's a good movie. It's not a good movie, but I like it. Armageddon.
Dude, I'm sorry. That's the whole. Have you watched that recently? All this. I know it's like. It was
It's
long
so
ago.
historically and scientifically
No, I'm
accurate.
saying like the special effects they use actually. It's
I was
still
gonna
not-
say like that's.
It's-
I
Oh, it
think
holds
it's a
up.
great. It's
I mean,
an
look at
action
Lord of the
movie.
Rings and stuff. That stuff
Yeah.
still holds up.
It's
Well,
just-
Lord of the Rings, in my opinion, is the 3 greatest films ever made. But,
We're gonna always mention Lord of the
when
Rings.
you, I guess
yeah, take a shot. Dylan mentioned Lord of the Rings, nerd.
2 podcasts in a row.
We should make an noise at the end of it.
Context was actually written or based off of an idea by Carl Sagan. I thought it was a very boring movie though. Someone with again Matthew McConaughey and I can't think of her name, the girl from Silence of the Lambs.
Did you guys ever watch that Matthew McConaughey movie where he's on the island and like in the trailer they're like, "Oh, everybody knows everything on this island. He's supposed to kill that guy."
I never saw it.
What was it called? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but
I remember the trailer.
Such a dumb movie. Like I don't even want to tell you what the ending. Like
I mean, it sounds like I always sat there and watched it. I just don't remember what it was.
I didn't watch it with you.
Are we including like sci-fi, or are we just talking hard sci-fi?
What about Planet of the Apes? That's pretty historically accurate.
Well, that's also, but I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Are we talking about like sci-fi, or are we
I
talking
would-
about hard sci-fi? Because hard sci-fi is like try to be a realistic approach to science fiction.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
So if
honest.
we're
If,
gonna talk about
if
that-
Interstellar went scientifically accurate, you know, it would be sitting there snoozing. It would be boring.
I mean, like they did a good job just until the very end. It's like he didn't know how to end the movie, so he just did something ridiculous because there's no other way to end it.
I mean, think about this. Our movies that we've created, our stories we've created, is why we have our scientific innovation in the direction
I mean,
we've
Star
gone.
Trek
Why
is
we have our phones,
directly
why we
invented.
have like every sort of technological innovation is specifically due to these movies,
And you could say
inspiring
it's-
people.
It's you could also say it's just
The course of time? No.
No, it's
people
art
getting
imitates
inspired.
life, and life
self-fulfilling
imitates
prophecy.
art.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't like. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, I just maybe it's just circle of thoughts. You know, if you think hard enough, maybe something will just exist.
I mean, but then you're going into the concept of the conduit, and if we're the conduit, and people like, what's his name, Elon Musk, are conduits that are overly powered conduits, and that's what the circle of thought concept is. That we never actually come up with the thought, but it's just floating around picking its
Or-
conduit.
He's just like a being from the future or an alien just trying to get home, which I think is the consensus.
I mean,
From Mars?
Yeah.
yeah. Sounds
just
about
trying
right.
to get to Mars.
I mean, think about it. Well, I mean, Elon Musk, as you guys know, is one of my personal biggest heroes.
Yeah.
But we do have to admit that he is not the myth that we make him out to be. He did not start Tesla, and I'm pretty sure he didn't even start SpaceX. He didn't start PayPal. He just was smart enough as a businessman to make the right investments. The actual founder of Tesla has left the company a long time ago after a huge fight with Elon. Elon is definitely worthy of the genius that we label him as, but we act like he is. It's like the revisionist history. We don't give credit to everybody involved in the situation.
Doesn't it specifically say he's the creators of all those things you just said on the internet?
Exactly, the internet. I mean, on the internet,
He's a co-creator of all of them, but he's still considered one of the names.
He did not co-found Tesla. He invested in Tesla when it was going down, and brought it back.
In that sense, though, he rebirthed it and it became his.
I mean, essentially, but I mean that's like I said, it's the mythology. I mean, the mythology typically takes over the facts.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
He's still my favorite person on Earth, though, by far.
Oh,
He's
so
the
I know
savior.
you also,
Sorry, PJ.
You also really like Arnold Schwarzenegger too, right?
Yeah, I'm a huge
And
Arnold
he was supposed to be
Schwarzenegger fan.
coming here like in May or something like
Yeah,
that.
he was going to do one of his things to see if you wanted to go.
Yeah.
The
But
business
he
things or
obviously
whatever.
canceled now because of
Which is
Rona.
fair, but next time. No, Arnold Schwarzenegger is, to me, I mean, yeah, of course, like everybody, like I was saying earlier, has his skeletons, but I think he's one of the most inspirational people of all time because, I mean, he came over to this country from a post, World War II Austria where, everything was falling apart.
Right.
He comes over to America, speaks no English, has a very heavy, thick accent that he still has, learns English while he's bricklaying, and basically supplementing his income and competing in his passion, which is bodybuilding at the same time. Starts getting popular in that while he's learning English, makes $1 million as a bricklayer / bodybuilder off of selling supplements, becomes a success before he even speaks like full English, which is, learning a second language is more impressive than we get it credit for.
Yeah.
Then he gets spotted, and then every casting director he comes across is like, oh no, we don't want people like you. You can barely even say, hello. And they crapped on him all the time. Said he'd never make a career. He might be like a small B movie player. Now he's one of the most recognized names in all of Hollywood. He's a legend. He was even a governor, for Christ's sake. I mean, the guy is the most interesting man in the world.
Now he sits there and he eats salads with little horses and donkeys.
He has a tank that he made breakfast on with Epic Mealtime. If I have to say anything else.
Okay, one show that you could go on, what Epic Mealtime or the Wings one, or there's more like that, right?
Hot Ones?
Hot Ones, or there's like another
we're
one.
not going that one.
What'd you do? Oh, you couldn't
No,
survive
he
past our
literally-
first
no.
round.
Yeah, he
What about
wouldn't
you,
even
Pete?
try.
What about you?
Short
What'd you?
episode.
What I do, of course.
I would go on Hell's Kitchen.
I would like to go.
You'd
on,
go Hell's Kitchen so you could get yelled at for making your grilled
I'm like,
cheeses.
what is this shit, PJ? Sorry, chef.
I would go on Martha
How'd you
Stewart
get here? It was a
and
wish.
Snoop Dogg's cooking show.
You'd go on the
I don't remember what's
Potluck.
called. Yeah.
Yeah, Potluck is the name of the Snoop Dogg.
Oh,
yeah.
I know which show I'd go on. I'd go in the one with John Favreau. The one he goes to places and like talks to the Avengers cast stuff like that while he's eating burgers. That'd be a cool one.
Didn't know that was a thing.
I
It's
didn't know
on
that was
Netflix.
one.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. There were, after Endgame came out, like he was like doing his season of the stuff, so he had one of his everything all. It was in Atlanta of all places, 'cause, they were always hanging out over there, and he went to this place, and so they all came in, like a couple of the producers and RDJ and Tom Holland, and they were sitting there talking, eating food and talking about the food and talking with the chef and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
All right.
So, and there's one where he had Gwyneth Paltrow on. It was him and her and the chef that were cooking stuff. And she didn't remember she was in one of the Spider-Man
One of the movies.
Yeah, it was so funny. She was like, "Oh, I was in there." And like, yeah, you were in it.
Would you? Okay. How about this? Which travel show would you go on?
Oh, that's a touchy subject for me because Anthony Bourdain.
Bourdain.
But
How about you, PJ?
that can't happen now.
It's not a thing anymore. But I would Did you ever see the show with Ricky Gervais and that guy?
Yes, the idiot abroad.
Yeah, idiot abroad. That'd be so funny.
That'd be the
They
one you
just
go
have
for.
this. It's just hilarious to me.
Head like an orange.
They just have this friend like, hey, we're gonna send you to go do something you've always wanted to do, and he's like, yeah, I'm like, good, I'll go do it. And then they like give him all these extra stops and do all this stupid stuff. It's so funny.
I would do the Norman Reedus one, Ride with Norman.
Oh yeah, I mean, now that
That would be the only one. That would be the main one I'd go for.
yeah, it'd be currently now, yeah. But for me, it would have. I always wanted to go meet Anthony Bourdain because he's the guy that inspired me to cook in the first place.
Towards his end there, he had a 6-pack and everything.
Yeah, yeah, because he was doing
He was doing
jiu-jitsu.
jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
One of those like,
Super into it, actually.
same as that one rapper, Wiz Khalifa. How he became like a super fighter all of a sudden.
You know, if I could have my own traveling show, it'd probably be a traveling / cooking show where I just think of one thing and I go try it in all the continents. Like
One specific, like you'd be your plain burger with nothing on it, tomatoes and pickles on the side.
I'd go to like Japan and like, make me your best plain burger.
And then they just look at you and frown.
And they're like, fine, you're not on my show anymore. And then go to the next place. Like, make me your best.
Or you
plain
could
burger.
watch my upcoming travel show, The Passenger.
Oh, speaking of
He's plugging in one.
It's called being a podcast, guys. Like that's the whole point. Drink Mountain Dew Zero.
And Passengers is a good movie too, by the way.
I thought you said you trashed that movie when it first came out.
Yeah, you were one of the people that.
That was one of my top favorite movies of all time, and you trashed it.
I like that. I think it could have been way better.
You trashed it in broad daylight.
The score is mediocre. I think just like
the score's mediocre. The score's phenomenal.
Just like the score in the.
I can't remember
Arrival,
most
remember
of the
movie
movies,
with
but I remember that movie. I specifically pull up that movie to listen to its score. And The Highwayman, because it's the same guy.
I think a couple aspects of that movie are flawed for sure.
Oh yeah, scientific.
Yes,
PJ.
No, not scientific.
I had an idea. When we start going to video form of this, PJ, I want you to get a doctor jacket, like have like an actual doctor suit. That'd be hilarious. Noted.
It's just.
You have to wear a bow tie with it.
Yeah. I remember now. Okay, it's such a stupid idea to think like. So
I get it. So PJ, you're basically saying if someone was traveling.
So basically, if you,
I haven't yet to see this film, so my opinion is.
So basically, there's like this it's like a.
I really don't want to ruin it for him if he hasn't.
I don't care.
This isn't gonna ruin it. I'm just gonna tell you the flaw.
It sounds like a generic sci-fi movie, anyways.
So like it's basically like just
one of
a
my
trip
favorites.
you can buy, right? Like to go to this planet, you know, and the time it takes to go to this planet is like what did I say? Like
70 or 90.
I think it was 90 or 100 years.
It was outside of your normal living.
Outside of normal
slightly.
lifetime, right?
Jesus.
And the problem with that, Dylan, is if you're talking about the
Yes, Dylan.
Okay, you're gonna agree with me on this, I promise. Maybe not, but if you're talking about how like the arc of like we make technology like goes, if we got to the point where we could go that far, you take off because once you go a certain speed on these things, right, you're capped out at that speed. So if it takes you 100 years to get somewhere, and in 5 years it's advanced so far that it takes 50 years to get there, then the second one's gonna beat you by 45 years, right?
That might be the case.
And so like every time this is happening, like it's just dumb because like and by the way they were like, oh yeah, this is like there's a bunch of voyages into it, right? It's a common thing, which is why it was so weird that this happened, right? But it's so dumb to think of that because if it takes 100 years every time it goes back and forth, you're talking about it would be 1,000 years just to get like 5 of them done, right? And so in 1,000 years, we'd have so much better technology. Yeah, you're talking about 1,000 years.
Yeah, but okay, there is literally periods in Earth history where we did not advance hardly at all.
And that's fair, but also if you're talking about like a commonly accepted like idea of the bell curve of where technology goes, it would be like we'd be going fast enough where we could have faster machines within years of each other.
Well, let's talk about the concept of story then. So let's say that ship set sail, right? And it's going its length. And then when the time that 50 years or whatever where he gets woken up because the asteroid thing. So you're telling me you would prefer the story to, another ship that advanced past them, slightly passes them at that correct amount of time where they're like, oh, we can help you fix that. Doot, doot, doot. And they both go
like,
sail back to the planet. Story over.
There's a problem. SOS. Okay.
And there's the immediate other ship.
Well, there's tropes in films for a reason. I mean, like almost every sci-fi horror movie starts with, "Oh, there's a distress signal. I don't want to stop. Well, we have to by the code." And then they stop, and then they all die, just like the other shit.
I don't think they're going there to the same planet over and over again. I think they're sending people to different planets to repopulate the entire galaxies.
Maybe.
I think that's what they're doing. They find an exoplanet, they send people there, whether it be 2 or 3 ships, and then they move on to the next location.
The way they explained it, though, Waylon.
Oh yeah, definitely. They didn't. That's totally context clues, and me just
No, they literally said it because when they were talking about
yeah, the multiple people go there.
When they were talking to each other, they were like, "Yeah, my blah 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 is
like the Titanic.
already there," you know.
Yeah. That's another movie that I have.
They're gonna be.
It's not like the Titanic.
Like I get why it's one
if
of the most
nobody was
popular films
on the
ever
boat
made.
on Titanic, it's like the Titanic, but it's not the Titanic.
It's just like some.
Oh, so they're the only 2 people on the ship in that the whole plot?
Everyone's asleep.
They just don't wake them up?
They're the only 2 that got woken up. You don't want to wake up everyone because they'll all die in that travel time. They're just trying to fix the ship's issue.
But they won't put them back to sleep?
You can't.
Everybody else is in cryo.
The cryo thing only has there's only one tube. There's one tube that can do it.
No.
And they can't get in there.
And that's the thing too.
It's in the captain's
there
locker.
There would be so. Okay, I don't want.
I don't want to ruin it because I want you to see it.
There would be
it is
so
one of
many
my favorite movies.
for something like that to happen. You know, like that's something that
you say that though.
We're humans,
the Titanic
dude.
happened for a reason.
I'll give you that, but we're also.
I mean, humans are also extremely stupid. Look at the fact that look the whole coronavirus or the Wuhan thing, the situation there. That should have never happened, but yet it did. And now because Italy was too stupid to stop their tourism stuff, they're getting destroyed over there, and it's tragic. It's horrible. Yeah. Like more people are dying than should have ever happened. One death is always tragic, but the fact that we're at this point is unacceptable, and it's all because people are stupid.
Right.
Look at all there's no indication that this flu causes you to have to poop a lot, but yet there's a toilet paper shortage. In the future, when we're talking to our grandkids, they're not going to call it, whatever we're calling it. They're going to call it the toilet paper plague. and they're going to ask us where we were. And we're going to be like, yeah, well, we'll play you the podcast.
And
or we argue about sci-fi movies like nerds.
We'll be known as the Soggy Bottom Boys. Because we ran out of toilet paper.
I am a man of constant sorrow.
We ran out of that toilet paper, so now we're the Soggy Bottom Boys.
There's just certain things, like, maybe it's just because I'm just being...
But Lord of the Rings is perfect, so it's fine.
Okay, that's fair. Maybe it's
the Hobbit trilogy, though.
But let's stop talking about that movie though, because I do want Dylan to see it, because it is one of my favorites.
Sometimes it's hard for me to enjoy things when
I like the atmosphere.
Really.
For me, atmosphere is more important than anything, because I'm willing to forgive inaccuracies. Because it's good. You got to be entertaining as well.
My opinion,
like
Chris
Jurassic
Pratt's
Park.
best.
Jurassic Park, really?
Mm-hmm.
Jurassic Park is not scientifically possible, but it's an awesome movie.
Well, with this one, it's Chris Pratt by himself for half the movie.
Okay, look, this is like what I guess what I would compare it to. Like, there's certain movies that you'll watch where it becomes annoying to watch because there's no sense of disbelief. You have to suspend your.
Oh yeah, no, that's a big thing for me. If I can't suspend my disbelief in your movie, like it's in your face about how obviously I'm watching a movie, it'll piss me off. It's kind of like pro wrestling, like when the pro wrestlers are winking at the camera basically, and they're not they took a huge move that should not only kill a regular person but at least win the match. And then they just pop up and act like they're completely fine.
Right.
I can't watch it.
Yeah. So the same thing in certain films, when there's an explosion, they would be dead, right?
But it also depends on the kind of film, because if we're watching a stupid action movie that you're going in to see that's fine.
And that's what I'm talking about. For instance, if I go watch a Fast and Furious, the later Fast and Furious movie, I expect that, and it's fun to watch that. But when I go to watch something like Passengers, or it's there's not really the scoopiness in it. It's more of supposed to be not. I said realistic is the wrong word, obviously.
But it's serious. It has a tone.
When there's these things that it just
So you're saying the tones of the film don't match. Makes sense.
How much you're supposed to suspend your disbelief.
It did to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sold on it. I can sit down and watch it.
On part 3 of the third podcast, we'll have Dylan's review of said movie, and we will decide who is correct.
But that's just one of the things. If I'm perfectly okay with suspending my disbelief if that's what the tone requires.
Well, yeah, look,
this is the only
movies.
He picks up off the very beginning of that doesn't make sense with the travel thing. And that's all he's thinking the entire movie instead of watching the movie for a story
I mean, I can
standpoint.
admit though, like certain things like that, when it's the basic plot of your movie doesn't make sense, it will piss me off. Like for example, you know.
Look, sometimes I just can't turn my brain off. I guess. Like,
I guarantee you that's the only reason you don't like it.
We're gonna watch it
attached,
tonight.
You literally attached to that sound or that specific thing, and it bugged you the rest of the
movie.
movie.
Well, I mean, there's certain things like that can ruin a film, like especially when it's presented as something that's supposed to be intellectual, and then it does something completely asinine.
There's nothing about it that was intellectual. It literally shows Chris Pratt alone. How did you deal with it? That's what it did. That's what it was doing.
That's what goes back. And again, I guess it's like one of the things where like
best movie starring one person only.
Okay. Does it have to be the entire film or just like the majority?
Majority of the film is a single person.
Okay, that's fair. Well, you have your classic, Castaway. That's like.
Castaway is definitely up there.
That's probably the best.
It's probably the best notable one.
That's a hard question.
I Am Legend's really good.
Yeah, the third act was kind of meh.
Yeah, but the fun, like the story, the beginning and stuff.
I think the beginning parts before we introduce the vampire zombie things.
Yeah.
I think
before you get to see them.
Yeah, I think that it was really awesome until you actually saw them. They just looked lame to me.
Yeah, and that's a whole other topic too.
Yeah.
Where we got into the age of seeing the monsters rather than imagining
we've
them.
always seen. I mean, that's always been the thing with horror, especially. The less is more. Yeah. So there's been some of the B movies that you've probably done scores for that I've watched where like the actual atmosphere and the acting may not be the best, but for what it was, it worked until they show the monster.
Yeah.
And then when you see the budget of the monster, it completely kills the movie. I can only think of one film where more is more worked, and that's John Carpenter's The Thing, and that's because it's one of the greatest films ever made. Yeah. Period. I don't want to hear any arguments.
Like you
kill you.
That, like,
I don't think I saw it.
Oh, we'll watch it.
Like the classic example of that is like something that we talked about like in Film and Lent, so like that is like Hitchcock, with the classic
Psycho.
Yeah, Psycho. Like you didn't see anything in that.
No.
The beauty of it was that you didn't see anything.
Honestly, half of what made that scene so iconic and scary was the exact soundtrack. Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, score is everything.
That's why I love the Interstellar score.
All you see is the knife. And you see
and the
swirl, of which I guess was food coloring.
Yeah, it was literally Hershey's chocolate syrup, and they got away with it because it was black and white.
And everything that you don't see is what you think about, right? I talked to my grandma, and she actually, because she was born alive like when that movie came out, and so I asked her if she went and watched it. She told me she actually did go watch it, and it scared the crap out of her.
It gave people heart attacks.
And so like, it's just cool.
King Kong did.
And then then you have the opposite spectrum of that where they do show us what's happening,
and it ruins it.
Yeah, it's just like okay.
Like that's what. So for example, one of the things I get passionately angry about is Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween. Mm-hmm. Now, admittedly, I am biased against Rob Zombie. I think all of his films suck. But
I haven't liked a single one of them.
Me either. I think they're all trash.
I don't like his horror at all.
I thought Rob Zombie was a musician for a long time.
He is.
He is.
He is a musician, but he also directs terrible movies.
He directs the terrible horror flicks.
Yeah. So as a person, he seems pretty cool. I just think his movies suck. But Halloween remake, especially though, like the first half of the movie is you trying to make you feel bad for this, little dwarf trailer park kid.
Yeah. And
you delve too deep into the psychology of the character, and then this kid who's like literally obviously gonna grow up to be he's gonna be like maybe 5'7" and like scrawny, but like all of a sudden he turns into this 8 foot tall pro wrestler looking dude, and you're just like, okay, what? And then he kills brutally for no reason, but you know about the character's backstory, which ruins the mystery of the character. If you watch the original Halloween, the classic one by John Carpenter, it's less violent. It's actually really not that violent at all. There's no blood, not even on the knife. It's very slow, methodical, but yet for some reason, when you watch that one, it feels more intense, more violent than the actually violent one, because less is more.
Right. It's an art.
It's an art form.
Not the one with Paul Rudd.
Oh, God.
Is that number 2?
No, God, no. That's like number 7 or 8.
Hey, Paul Rudd's the only one known to have beaten him down like that.
There was a scene, I think it's the same one, where some rapper, it might be Method Man, Kung Fu fights Michael Myers, and it's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I'm just saying, Paul
No,
Rudd.
Halloween 2 is the one where he's in the
Ant-Man showed
hospital
up.
and we find out that he's her brother, which is a stupid plot twist. And then my second favorite Halloween one is the one everyone hates, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It has no Michael Myers at all. It's about a guy who discovers that this evil Irish cult is going to make evil Halloween masks that murder children. And it's awesome.
Sounds like a Goosebumps story.
It's essentially a rated R Goosebumps movie, and it's awesome. It's so 80s.
I think my favorite Halloween movie of all time
Halloween 10.
is probably going to be.
Darn.
Can you guess it?
Trick or Treat.
Ernest Gets Scared.
Ernest Scared Stupid.
Scared Stupid. That's what it was. Ernest Scared Stupid.
There is my personal favorite Ernest movie will always be Ernest Goes to Camp because it's something me and my grandma used to watch every summer.
I'm waiting for the day that John Cena gets old enough
It's
to become
happening.
Ernest.
It's gonna happen.
He looks more and more like Ernest every day.
Like a roided out Ernest.
Dude,
Give him
have
time
you
to
seen
get
his
a little
face,
smaller.
dude? Like,
He'll never get smaller.
so like I don't
He's
know.
gonna be like
I'm
The
thinking,
Rock,
I'm
where he gets like
thinking maybe,
ginormous for some reason.
maybe the Ernest actor is like his dad or something.
He's
like,
dead.
well, I mean, he wouldn't have been dead.
Pretty dark,
45
Dylan.
years ago.
Pretty dark.
Yeah, well, you're talking about one of my boys here, so
Well,
I
I'm
love
just
Ernest. R.I.P.
Yeah, then what I'm saying like is he was alive when John Cena was born. Though.
You don't know that. John Cena might have been an experiment gone wrong.
I
You
think
can't see him, remember?
I think he is just the Ernest actor's son, man, who like
Now
worked
I'm
out
going
a
to try
bunch.
to think of his actual name.
He looks just like him. Like I saw the trailers for Playing with Fire.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, whoa, like.
Speaking of which, did that come out already in
good.
Bomb?
No,
Oh, you saw it?
No, I did good. Like, it had that holiday rush, Like, everybody, all the families went and watched it for Christmas. So it was, like, one of the
Okay.
ones. So it was good, too. Like, he had I always forget his name. I mean, I always call him Luigi because he was in that terrible Mario and Luigi movie, or Super Mario movie.
Oh, that's an ironic movie that I'll sit there and watch. Now,
That's
because
your
I'm
one,
trying to pick
yeah.
one. Like, yeah, that would be it.
No,
That'd be one of them.
Have you ever watched the pitch meetings on YouTube? It's Ryan George. Like he has a really dry humor, right? And he'll do like a pitch meeting for movies, And so he did that one. And dude, I think you would love him because like the humor is like right, like what we love. And anyways, check him out sometime. It's on Screen Rant. It's like the only good thing Screen Rant does. And like I think he used to be a writer for them, and then he came up with this pitch meeting idea, and so now they just absolutely use him all the time for that. But yeah, I'll show you the link. And for those of you watching, Ryan George is awesome.
/ listening because there's no camera rolling right now.
If we're going to just plug random things,
If you're watching, you're possibly the government.
watch OSW Review on YouTube. 3 Irish dudes reviewing old wrestling pay-per-views. It's the best podcast of all time.
Wow.
Facts.
Wow.
Facts.
Wow.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
I thought you would have picked Critical Role instead, but that's a little surprising.
What, a D&D thing? Is that what that is?
I've
PJ
never
knows what
played
it is,
D&D in
thus
my
is
life.
a nerd.
I obviously, by the name of it, I assumed it was D&D.
What's her name was on there too.
I would have never guessed
Your
the
girl.
D&D thing.
Day? Oh my goodness. I
She
love
was
it.
on that podcast too.
I wish I was old enough to have like gone to college with her.
That got canceled, didn't it?
What?
The
Yes, it did.
she was
Don't
supposed to be
remind me.
there. Oh.
I was gonna win her over, and it was gonna be awesome. But anyways,
story,
we're
guys.
gonna
Have you
get
watched
off-
The Guild yet, Dylan?
Dude, you have.
I have. You guys act like I have all this free time to watch nerd crap.
Clearly he does because he's
She
watched
is
a
the-
lot of movies I have
she's
never
the
heard
queen
of.
nerds.
That's because I'm a film buff. I don't waste my time with films that I don't think are going to be good, though.
I'm a redhead buff.
And then yet he watches
Hey,
all
hey,
the
now,
weird
back
ironic
off.
movies.
Dude, Felicia Day is a redhead.
That's
Have you
my
ever seen
niche.
Dr. Horrible?
He's watched Supernatural. You know Felicia Day.
Oh,
It's her,
You can
yeah.
have her.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
You gotta watch
I
Dr.
got Karen
Horrible.
Gillan, so I win.
Okay.
Which one's Karen Gillan?
She's the Scottish redhead from Doctor Who
Yeah.
/ Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, okay.
Oh,
Nebula.
and Jumanji.
Yeah, she's in Jumanji.
Yeah, that's why she's always so familiar looking.
And Oculus, which is a great
That was a
underrated
phenomenal
horror
movie.
Dude, I heard that The Rock and The Rock and Kevin Hart, they were making fun of her so hard on set this past time because of her accent. She has that real Scottish accent. That was a horrible accent, by the way. Anyways, it's just funny. I can imagine, like, I would love
Not
to
as
teach
bad as Waylon's accents, though.
I would love to teach.
Not going there.
We're gonna stop. Anyways, Karen Gillian's awesome too.
Why are we stopping?
I'm gonna stop talking about redheads
Oh.
because
We're
We
gonna
don't
have
want to
a,
get
we're gonna
PJ
have
down
a
the trail.
we're gonna have a Texas death match over who gets to claim
Karen Gillan?
and it's me.
Karen Gillian likes to go to parties and kiss people.
Gilland.
I call her Gillian.
Yeah, because
PJ's
you don't
been
have
trying to find one of those
Scottish
parties since day one going to California.
accent. We're getting to a creepy level now.
What's up?
Let's move to the next subject.
Stop talking about them like they're objects.
No, it's a line from Doctor Who. She
What's
likes
that?
she likes to go to parties and kiss people.
No,
Yeah.
wait, no.
Now, best Doctor Who episode,
With her, all of them.
right? I agree with
Except
that.
for the ones where she's all in love with Rory. Like, come on.
Yeah, he kind of sucks.
Yeah, he sucks. She
So
deserves
does
better.
so does pretty much everything.
Are we talking about Doctor Who right now?
Yes, we
Because
are.
I am gonna be
Lost.
slightly checked out.
Honestly, though,
I
like-
know all the earlier days.
Classic Doctor Who though? I'd have to say, obviously Fourth Doctor, one with the giant scarf, is probably the most iconic.
A lot of the classic Doctor
I
Who.
recommend
You
watching.
talking about the one with the fro?
Yeah, the
Okay.
large curly hair. He's
See, I know that PJ.
That's
That's
tall
hot.
with
That's
the
cool.
scarf. But
I mean, I know of them.
yeah, well, if you're gonna give the old ones a watch, I would recommend his run the most. I mean, because there's good episodes in a lot of the ones, but that's the one that you can watch with a modern eye and not be like upset. Because like when you watch like original one, it's like painfully slow and it's like, oh my god. But he's got a modern like energy to him, and the storytelling was pretty much focused on being actual stories. And the best episode is I think the Mummies from Mars, I believe is what it's called. And that is a pretty awesome episode. Like it's the first one I ever saw when I was a child, back when they replayed British shows on PBS.
Yeah.
Classic.
Dude, I
Okay,
love it.
speaking of that, I grew up to that. The British channels, the British shows.
Oh yeah.
Did y'all ever touch those much?
Yeah,
You
no,
didn't-
that was my
Like
my
I
jam.
grew up to Monty Python.
Mr. Bean,
We didn't
Mr.
watch
Monty
all of them.
Python.
Gosh, what was the
Fawlty Towers.
Fawlty Towers. Yeah, all those movies.
Oh
like
yeah,
we were
British
shows.
TV in the '90s.
We
on
still watch
PBS.
them.
Yeah,
What's
Great.
the other one? Midsummer Murders.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
classic.
we still watch that one constantly.
We just watched.
One of my favorite current ones, something Brown.
You talking about Father Brown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
He's this
Catholic
weird
priest
Catholic
that
priest
follows,
that just gets into all
yeah,
business.
he solves murders.
He solves murders.
It's like a small British town that has more murders than like big cities. It's hilarious.
Like he's that annoying guy that just like pokes his head into everything in the town.
Yeah. And literally though, like a murder a day in this small English village that has hardly any people.
Have
It's
you watched the other
amazing.
one with the guy? Do you remember the show where he was the superhero? My Superhero, I think is the name of it. Well, he's one of the guys in one of those murder shows. They're in Jamaica, and it's like one of the small islands.
yes. Bollocks.
You know what I'm talking
I know
about.
exactly
Because
what
the
you're
guy
talking
from the Cats in the first few episodes, or the first like seasons.
Yeah.
The cat from what's the name of the space one?
Red Planet or Red Dwarf?
Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf is
Red
a
Dwarf's
great
probably
show.
one of my top favorite space movies / shows of all time. The movie's about to come out. I
Finally.
believe, except for the coronavirus, probably stopped it. Yeah. But PJ, if you haven't watched real British humor outside of Monty Python's, you need to watch Red Dwarf.
I'd say Life of
love
Brian
those.
and there's a film that we all love, Princess Bride. I think those are two films that probably inspired my sense of humor more than anything.
Yeah.
Dude,
Like
I
the
love
sarcasm
British
of
humor.
Princess Bride.
Have you seen Red Dwarf?
I mean, I know, but I've seen a lot.
Like
of
I could
British
sit, I could
I
sit
think
down watch those today
The
and
IT crowd's
laugh.
pretty funny.
I haven't started IT Crowd yet.
It was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of his name, but the guy that was in the Neighborhood Watch movie from that show, I think he's hilarious, and I think he should be the next Doctor. I'm gonna have to look his name up. Though, 'cause I can't
That
remember.
guy. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what about did y'all ever get into Flight of the Conchords?
I'm obsessed with Flight of the Conchords.
No.
Seen them in concert.
I'm not one to go to a comedic musician concert.
It was fun.
I mean, I'm sure they're fun. I'm sure they're great, but I'm not. I would rather pay
Richard Ayoade.
the
I
ticket
probably
money to
pronounced that
see
wrong.
a band or an artist and not a. If I'm gonna go to comedy, I would go to the stand-up comedy route.
Yeah.
Like
I
the-
mean, for me,
I don't know. I
'cause it
just maybe
essentially
it's because I
is
never
stand-up
found one
comedy.
that's that awesome that I'm like I have to see these people. Like Stephen Lynch, he's pretty good. Like I enjoyed him. Remember Stephen Lynch?
Vaguely.
The one that would do definitely not acceptable in today's culture. But the one that was like the
You mean most comedians?
yeah, like there was one about the Special Olympics. There was one about
Yeah, I remember him. I never really got into him. I think for me, if I could go to any, I mean, it'd be impossible, but any comedian to go see live, it'd probably either be George Carlin or Richard Pryor.
Mine would be Tommy Boy.
Chris Farley?
Yeah, Chris
Did
Farley.
he do stand up?
I think he
He
did.
had to have to.
He had to have.
I've never seen
Well,
any stand up.
we were talking about this at the office the other day. What what comedian would you bring back from the dead?
Robin Williams.
Yeah. You
I
win.
didn't think about that.
But live comedians, I want to see the whack guy. Whack.
I feel like I would have enjoyed seeing where Chris
His
Farley
name
went
is
though.
Hannibal.
Oh, Hannibal
Buress.
Buress. I love that guy.
Whack. Oh, he's so
I
funny.
love how laid back and low key his comedy is.
Yeah, he's funny. And then maybe the dude that did the parody of Eminem. That guy's pretty funny too.
The guy who did the parody of Eminem, by the way, I have a friend who dated him. The guy's name's Chris.
That's cool.
She dated him. She told me. I was like, no way. And she's all like, yep. I was like, apparently it was one of those DM'd. Got DM'd.
Got DM'd. Napkins and the babkins.
Isn't that nuts? That was like, was it before or after the napkins and the babkins? And she said before, but yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's a small world, man.
No.
Getting smaller every day.
That's how the coronavirus is being spread around so fast.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that because I'll just rant.
A person of a person knows a person.
Well, guys, I think this has been a fun one.
Did we finish our list?
Yes, we did. We hit them all.
Did we
Hit 'em
really?
off the
You
time.
only hit one.
All right, we had all of them. The list reveal: Interstellar, Matthew McConaughey, The Frogs, and Mountain Dew.
One more thing. All right, guys, let's wrap it up.
Well, it's been real. Thanks for coming to the Emilio Estevez Fan Club podcast. No, we're
The
we're
men
the,
without hats. Well,
no,
one of
wait,
us is wearing a
no.
hat.
No, we are the what's the guy? What's Batman's
The
name?
never-ending podcast name-changing show variety.
What's his name?
Oh, Bruce Wayne?
Edward
Norton?
Edward Norton. The guy from Twilight.
Cullen.
Robert Pattinson.
We're the Robert Pattinson.
No, we're the Lighthouse Fan Club.
No, we're the Robert Pattinson.
No, we're the-
dinosaur.
We're
Wizards
Team
podcast.
Edward.
Alright,
We're
we're
the Team
the-
Edward podcast.
We're just going to keep going until, PJ just gets mad and just turns it off.
Goodbye.
And...